Ever get the feeling someone's lived about 5 different lives? All before breakfast, even.
Yeah, I know the type.
Today's deep dive centers around a figure who just might fit that bill. Stephen Hsu. You've sent over a really interesting mix of articles and research on him. Seems like you're particularly interested in his knack for predictions.
And what a track record. But you're right, even beyond the predictions, Stephen Hsu's career is something else.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy who's had his hand in everything. From crafting screenplays, we're talking real Hong Kong cinema classics, all the way to navigating the world of business, even dabbling in politics.
A regular Renaissance man.
Absolutely.
From what I'm gathering from these sources, he got his start in entertainment. Did those early successes contribute to his later reputation as a commentator?
It's fascinating how it all connects. You see, Xi earned quite a name for himself as a screenwriter. He even snagged awards for films like To Be Number One, or as it's known in Cantonese, Ni, but his influence didn't stop at the big screen.
Oh, right. He was a big deal in television too, wasn't he? I vaguely remember reading something about that.
Absolutely. From what I understand, you couldn't turn on a television in Hong Kong like from 70s through the 90s without seeing him pop up or having worked on the show behind the scenes.
Wow.
And remember, this is all while he's got these side ventures in the business world going on. The man clearly has a nose for a good opportunity.
So we've got a sharp mind, a natural storyteller, and a knack for spotting the next big thing. What's interesting to me is how this all leads to his online commentary, which is what he seems to be most known for these days. Was there a turning point where he shifted gears, or was it more of a gradual evolution?
It's more of a fascinating blend of his interests, really. While he was making waves in television and film, he also started dabbling in radio commentary in the late 90s.
Okay.
It's as if he had all these insightful observations and just couldn't keep them bottled up. That radio commentary eventually morphed into his online presence.
And that's where things get really interesting. This is where we see him transition from crafting fictional narratives to offering his take on real-world events, particularly in the political and economic spheres.
Precisely. He establishes Hong Kong People's Radio Online in the early 2000s and really dives headfirst into political and economic commentary.
Right.
And with that platform, we start to see the emergence of the predictions that have made him both famous and infamous.
Famous and infamous. There's a story there. These sources keep mentioning a nickname, something about a lamp.
Ah, yes, the God of Lamps. It's not your everyday moniker, is it? It's quite a head-scratcher until you delve into the world of Stephen Hsu's pronouncements. You've got to admit, God of Lamps is a nickname that piques your curiosity. It's not exactly a title you'd expect for someone known for making predictions.
You're telling me it sounds more like someone who gives really good housewarming gifts. But in all seriousness, where does this name come from?
Well, in Chinese culture, lighting a lamp often symbolizes hope, good fortune. It's about inviting positive energy, kind of like wishing someone luck.
So how does that connect with Stephen Hsu? Was he going around lighting lamps for good luck?
Not quite. The irony here is that he earned the nickname God of Lamps because his predictions, especially in politics and finance, had a knack for, well, let's just say things rarely went the way he predicted.
Oh, I see. It's like he was inadvertently lighting the lamp for the opposite outcome. Kind of like a reverse Midas touch, but for predictions.
Exactly. And some of these instances are almost too perfect, with the benefit of hindsight.
All right, you got me hooked. Give me the highlights. What are some of these pronouncements that earned him this, shall we say, illuminating title?
Well, one that immediately springs to mind involves the Hong Kong University Student Union back in 2015. Hsu publicly stated that he didn't see the university withdrawing from the union. In fact, he went as far as to say that the movement advocating for withdrawal was essentially a lost cause.
And I'm sensing a but coming here.
A big one. The very next day, the pro-withdrawal vote passed with a significant majority.
Oh, wow.
Over 2,500 students voted in favor of it. Talk about a strong message. That's one lamp that lit up pretty brightly.
Wow, talk about a miscalculation.
Yeah.
I'm starting to understand how that nickname stuck. Were there any other predictions, perhaps in a different arena, where he had a similar experience?
Oh, absolutely. This wasn't just a political commentary phenomenon. Take, for instance, his view on the media company 100 MOV, or MOV for short.
I have to admit, I'm not familiar with them.
They're known for their satirical news, often with a political edge. Imagine The Onion, but with a Hong Kong twist.
Ah, okay, got it. So what was Xi's prediction about MOV?
Well, in 2016, he publicly expressed concern that they would face some serious government pressure, possibly even leading to their downfall.
Given the God of Lamps track record so far, I think I can guess what happened.
You got it. Not only did MOV not get shut down, but fast forward to 2018, their parent company had a wildly successful initial public offering on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange.
You're kidding. It's like every time he doubted something, it ended up thriving.
It does seem that way, doesn't it? And to make the irony even richer, that initial public offering we talked about, it was oversubscribed by a staggering 6,288 times.
Okay, now that's just incredible. It seems like every time Stephen Hsu made a confident prediction, the universe had other plans. But you know what I find fascinating is that even though his predictions often missed the mark, he still cultivated a large and engaged following. There's something to be said about his approach, don't you think? It's almost as if the more his predictions missed the mark, the stronger this whole God of Lamps persona became. And people, they couldn't help but tune in to see what would happen next.
You've hit on something crucial there. There's an undeniable entertainment factor to it all. It's like watching a tightrope walk, you know. There's a chance for a misstep, maybe even a dramatic fall. But there's also that thrill, that anticipation, that wonder if they'll actually pull it off.
It's true. A lot of us are drawn to that element of surprise, that unexpected twist. But beyond the entertainment value, I'm curious about the broader implications of this. We live in an age where information, commentary, predictions, they all spread like wildfire online. What happens when those predictions, even if delivered with, the best of intentions, turn out to be inaccurate?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And with someone like Stephen Hsu, who cultivated this image of being so sharp, so in the know, it's easy to see how his pronouncements could carry weight, potentially even influencing how his audience interpreted events.
Especially in the online world, right, where it's so easy to get caught up in echo chambers and confirmation bias.
Right.
If someone you already see as an authority figure reinforces your existing beliefs with a confident prediction, it's tempting to just take it at face value without really, digging deeper.
Exactly. And before you know it, that prediction, accurate or not, becomes part of the narrative, shaping perceptions and potentially even influencing actions. It's like that old saying, a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting on its shoes.
Which makes me wonder, how do we, in this world of information overload, navigate all of these predictions and commentaries effectively? How do we separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak?
Well, I think it starts with cultivating what I call a healthy skepticism. Don't just blindly accept information, even if it comes from a source you generally trust.
So don't just take Stephen Hsu's word for it, even if he is a captivating storyteller.
Precisely. Look for evidence-based arguments, those why explanations behind the prediction. And don't be afraid to seek out diverse perspectives, even those that challenge your initial viewpoint. The more informed you are, the better equipped you'll be to navigate this complex information landscape.
It's almost as if every piece of information, every prediction should come with like a mental disclaimer. For your consideration, further research may be required.
I like that. Because ultimately the responsibility lies with us, the audience, to be critical thinkers, to question assumptions, and to engage with information actively, not passively.
This deep dive into the world of Stephen Hsu has been quite the journey. We've explored his fascinating career, unraveled the mystery behind the God of Lamps nickname, and we ended up contemplating the very nature of predictions in the digital age.
And perhaps, just perhaps, it's given us all more to think about than a crystal ball ever could. It's not just about who gets it right or wrong, but how we as consumers of information interpret, analyze, and ultimately learn from those predictions, hits and misses alike.
It's a good reminder that even when the future seems uncertain, the power to navigate it thoughtfully is in our hands.